Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I'm so sure.
We've just been watching all the movies.
We've been watching
S.
M.
Soup. We've been watching SM Soup. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SM Soup, the #1 podcast with soup in the name, but not on the brain. I'm Spencer.
And I'm Shelby.
Together, we're here to take you on a journey through life's biggest questions, like waiter. Was 1975 a good year for movies?
Was it?
Was it?
Was it?
Waiter?
Was it?
And let me ask you this, waiter. Is this a movie club episode? It is. It's a movie club. Shelby, before we get into it, how are you?
I'm good. Honestly, with all of these episodes, we don't even have time to talk about how we are. It doesn't matter how we are. It's about the movie, Spencer.
About the movies. You're right.
Which a lot comes out about how we are based on, I think, how we respond to these movies. If you really think about it, you could really analyze these episodes, I think.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Top of the thing, before we even get into the actual movies and going through them all.
Mm-hmm.
Good year?
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
All
like,
right.
I've had worse. Like, we did have to watch Howard's End. We had to watch, what was the Western? About the country singer, kinda?
Tender Mercies.
I'm not sure there's many movies that are gonna be more disappointing than Tender Mercies for me.
Yeah.
That was a pretty disappointing movie.
Yeah.
So, we've had worse, but we've most certainly had better.
Yeah, of course we've had better.
I think 1975 is very interesting because when we read out the movies, obviously, I will say in my knowledge, very limited of popular culture, 2 of them are very recognizable. So that bodes very well for a year,
Mm-hmm.
2 movies from 1975 that probably the average person has at least heard of, probably seen, but I'll say at least heard of. That's pretty big. That's big. So there's that.
Yeah.
What do you think of the year 1975? Good year? Strong year?
It was a good year. Yeah. 1975 is the first year of our
whole club situation.
Yeah, so it's 75 to now 2024 we've included. And so this is as far back as we're technically going to go for this and until maybe we start getting down and decide to expand it, but
we got a while before that.
I don't think that's something
/ finding some of those might be really annoying.
Well, no, if anything, I would think it gets easier.
The older they are?
The closer they are to just general preservation.
I guess. I don't know.
Depends on how far back you go.
Remind me. We obviously just watched 1975.
Mm-hmm.
Was our most recent year that we watched 2001 or was it 2003 or 2023? 2021 or 2023? Like, what's our newest? Because we've done quite the beginning and the end of our challenge, 1975 to now. I think we've actually been spaced out really nicely as a whole.
Yeah.
I just can't remember what the newest year we watched. If it was 23.
The newest year we watched, so we watched 2003, but before that was 2021.
2021. Okay, thank you.
So yeah, we've almost hit the upper and the lower.
Okay. Yeah, that's just
quite.
what. Not quite, but still.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought it's always really interesting going back and watching movies from now 50 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's really interesting to go back and watch these movies and to like see how they hold up, if they hold up, and just to kind of like see what it was that they had to work with,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of the feat in a lot of ways to like make some of these things. One of the movies that we're going to talk about is Jaws, right? And you think about how Jaws would get made today, and
it would be insane. It would give the vibes.
Easy.
It would give the vibes of like a Godzilla movie.
Yeah,
It would be so dramatic and like intense.
Yeah, but it would also have the potential to be as bad as all of those like B movies of like
Sharknado.
Yeah, those are like C movies, but like what are they, like Anaconda?
Oh yeah.
the Megalodon, and
Yeah.
those types.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's just really interesting.
Someone out there's really offended you just said that.
I mean, I don't think like it's necessarily a bad thing. I just think like those movies aren't necessarily trying to move the needle. They're just going for like intense entertainment value.
Sure.
And I think they do a fine job.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's just really fun to go back, and like the oldest we had done was 79. We also did 83, I think was the first year we did. And I was like genuinely blown away
Mm-hmm.
by like some of the films for
Mhm.
those years, right?
Yeah.
And so actually I would go as far to say is like this year also had that. But then there is like the flip side of the coin where like some of the movies or just parts of movies or like whatever in general, they just like they could fall flat and like fall
Yeah.
hard.
I
and
mean,
it's-
storytelling is just handled very differently. We've talked about that with some
Yeah.
of the old years.
Yep. But anyway, I'm excited to talk about it.
Me too.
So, shall we just,
Let's do it.
Get into
'cause
it?
These are always long ones.
as always, real quick,
Yeah.
in case this is the first time you're joining an SM Soup Movie Club,
Yep.
Shelby and I are going to go through all the nominees.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to discuss, what we liked. We're going to do it in the order that we watched them, which
Yep.
was Dog Day Afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Jaws.
Yep.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Nashville. And then Barry Lyndon.
There are going to be spoilers. But
Yeah.
these are 50-year-old movies. So this episode of all the movie clubs is the one that I feel the least bad about giving
we
spoilers.
treat this as here's our like opinion on them. Here is what do we think should have won? And then at the end we kind of provide our personal ranking of the 5 and sort of it always ends up being like here's one we thought was really good, but here's one I could recommend to anyone I've ever met.
Yeah,
Like we
there's
kind
a
of
little
go
bit of
that
that.
route. But in the end, like if you're like, is this worth the time of me watching it? You don't have to agree with us, but like we do give those opinions.
Yeah, and then normally we run through all of the other major award categories that a lot of these movies that are nominated for Best Picture also tend to fall into.
Yep.
Sometimes there's movies that we didn't get to watch, so it's kind of fun to see if we know of anything else. 75 is going to probably be kind of difficult,
Yeah,
but
we'll
we'll
probably
see.
know like nothing.
But yeah, like we'll, when it comes around to like Best Actor, normally there's like 2 or 3 at least nominated for movies that we watched, and we can kind of like, no, I thought this performance was better, and kind
Yeah.
of do that a little bit. But without further ado,
Yeah.
let's start with Dog Day Afternoon and Mr. Al Pacino.
Frickin' Al, I'll tell you what.
Yo, what?
I'll tell you what. All right, Dog Day Afternoon, marked as a crime/thriller, when inexperienced criminal Sonny Wartzik, played by Al Pacino, leads a bank robbery in Brooklyn, things quickly go wrong and a hostage situation develops. As Sonny and his accomplice, Sal Natural, try desperately to remain in control, a media circus develops and the FBI arrives, creating even more tension. Gradually, Sonny's surprising motivations behind the robbery are revealed and his standoff with law enforcement moves towards its inevitable end. It is, according to the movie, and a little bit of Googling, very loosely based off a true story.
Yes.
So putting that in there too.
Yeah. This was, I feel like, a pretty solid start for us.
Sure.
I think this was like a good like introduction to the year 1975 and
Yeah.
like the movies we were going to be watching.
Yeah.
Definitely not the best one of the year, but it was definitely a solid film, and I think again stands out mainly for like the time that it was.
Yes.
Like, and that it was, made in, especially. Obviously like this movie could be made a trillion times better today, and like again, it's just one of those things where it's like you think about everything in there. But I thought Al Pacino was
He was Al Pacino.
He was electric.
He was Al
Like, yeah,
Pacino.
literally. And yeah, the movie overall, it was like it was your typical like baby's first crime.
Yeah.
So like they're like idiots.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so like they're like Al Pacino is just like he like has so much fucking energy, so he's like sliding and like falling and like all this other shit to like run around and like do XYZ and everything like that. It's so chaotic, and at the same time it's like 90% of the movie takes place in this bank.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
and it's all just done right there.
Yeah.
And you get like, bits and pieces of the story are presented to you, everything like that. It's kind of a slow burn at times. But it was solid. It was definitely solid.
It is funny to think about. I think if that like this general story of the movie, like you said, like Baby's First Crime, if that was done today, I think it would have leaned hard into being a comedy, and it wasn't like remotely trying to be that. Like it really was just like someone doing something out of desperation and like thinking they have their plan fully thought out, and then watching it almost immediately fall apart. Like truly immediately fall apart, and then you just watch the like devastation of that for the rest of it. It's also not like, it's not action packed. It is mostly just like dialogue and
a lot of tension,
but like almost immediately, in like some ways, like all of the tellers like don't see Al Pacino's character as a threat.
No.
Like they come to realize like, oh no, this is some like young adult who just like did the wrong thing, obviously, but like doesn't actually know what he's doing. So there is kind of comedy in the fact that like they're almost like helping him do it better, because they're like, how are you so bad at this? Like, what is wrong with you? So there's kind of some like untrying comedy in that. And kind of watching them all interact is like kind of interesting, because again, it's just so different on how I think that kind of story would be treated today. Yeah, I don't really know what else. It's obviously a lot of these were fun to watch, being that they're in the mid 70s, but this especially I think captures the like vibrant style and feel of the 70s that we're told about. Because it's literally Brooklyn, like everything's a little like grimy, but in like a cool, like everyone's figuring their own shit out kind of way. So I'd say in terms of like being able to look back and see like quote unquote society in the 70s, this one is very fun in that regard.
Definitely.
They like highlight like kind of, there's a lot of like anti-police motivations in it, like crowds are forming, and like it kind of hits on a lot of stuff, like socially speaking, for the 70s.
It's also really funny though, because it's like almost so unbelievable, because like there are multiple times where Sonny just comes like waltzing out of the bank, and just wide out into the open, and it's just like, I know that they know there's another guy in there, but like I feel like they would have just killed him.
Like you do sit there going, I do feel like the situation like if this situation were to truly happen today,
like it would be shoot first, ask questions later. 1,000%. It's just so funny.
Not to say it wouldn't have been then, like who knows, like I don't know, but you do sit there as a today person going like, this is not how this would be handled in any capacity, like good or bad. Like this is not how this would go down.
They were just extended so much grace. It's crazy.
So much.
But it
was entertaining. It was very interesting. It was entertaining. It again is handled so differently than any, I'll say, bank heist movie I've ever seen or even remotely heard the concept of. So that was fun.
It's not like electric. It's not like over the top entertainment. Like like energy and everything like that. Like it's like considered a crime thriller. Is that what you said?
It's what it says on Google.
But it's not like, it's not intense really. Like there are moments of tension. And normally it's like the moments where like anytime they're in the bank, like you said, like everybody knows they're fine. It's as soon as they move outside of the bank that it's just like tension is through the roof, because like it's like who has an itchy trigger finger, who has like whatever, right? Yeah, it's a solid movie.
The only thing that was like kind of funny, again, because this is like really, really, really loosely based on a true story, is the person who is doing the bank robbery. Like there are like people in his life who were portrayed in the movie, and some of the like, you know how at the end of like a based on true story, like at the end they like do a little like verbiage where it's like so and so lived on for another 30 years and blah blah blah. Like they do that. The verbiage at the end felt like the most like passive aggressive we do not think very highly of these individuals who were in Sunny's life. Like, it just was like so unnecessary. Like, I was like, this is kind of, and like the movie was made what, like 2 years after the event happened, like all still very fresh information. Like, these are not people who it's like, oh, it's been 15, 20 years. Like, that's my past. Like, no, we're like talking like 2 years had passed since this had happened. And it was just such an odd backhanded update on the people that I was like, that's crazy.
That's the 70s.
That's crazy. Because I was like, this just like feels so rude for no reason.
Yeah,
like it wasn't them who did it or were involved. Like, just leave them out of it. Portray them if you want. That's one thing, but like to weirdly, I don't know. It was just
you don't
weird.
need to give an update about them.
No,
you can say like
let them live their lives.
Sonny's serving a sentence in prison.
Yeah,
and that can kind of be it.
Yeah,
and you can let us know if like the bank manager
is okay.
Is like
maybe he gave up banking. I don't know. Like
became a fisherman or some shit. Like, who cares?
Yeah, that was a little odd. Where I was like, again, once we Googled it because I needed to confirm it was actually real or how much of it was real or whatever. I was like, 2 years. And these poor people's like, you're just, I don't know, hearing unnecessary details about their lives. Like, they already have to deal with, I'm sure, the backlash of what happened, let alone like the movie coming out and being like, and here's where they're at today.
And here's their address.
Yeah.
Go knock on their door.
So that was a little odd, but a very good start, I'd say, to the year 1975.
Yeah.
Which then leads us to the movie probably everyone knows, Jaws, which I did not look up the premise for. But do we even need the premise for Jaws?
Big ass shark.
Big ass shark. Oh, this is a long overview. When a young woman is killed by a shark while skinny dipping near the New England tourist town of Amity Island, Police Chief Martin Brody wants to close the beaches, but Mayor Larry Vaughn overrules him, fearing that the loss of tourist revenue will cripple the town. I don't know how to say this, but I know shark specialist Matt Hooper and grizzled ship captain Quint offer to help Brody capture the killer beast, and the trio engage in an epic battle of man versus nature. I mean, it's Jaws.
Officer Brody, you said, right? Or police captain, what was his title?
Police Chief Martin Brody.
Martin Brody, played by?
Roy Scheider.
Roy Scheider from All That Jazz.
All That Jazz. That's right. That's
movie
right.
club movie.
Compare his roles. All That Jazz, Jaws.
It's tough. I actually think he was better in All That Jazz, but I did really enjoy him in Jaws.
Yeah, I mean, All That Jazz, he was so much more of a character.
Yeah, 100%.
In Jaws, he's supposed to be the cool-headed police chief. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's really good in Jaws too.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't seen Jaws like me until now,
which is crazy.
It is crazy.
The TV begs you to watch it.
The shark attack happens, and he's like, yeah, we gotta shut everything down. This is crazy. And then everybody's just like,
are you crazy?
Why the fuck would we shut everything? We're a beach town. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, sure.
And then another shark attack happens, and he goes, they do like the crazy zoom in on his face, and he's like, always got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God. And then, jumps into action and everything like that. But, to my point earlier, Jaws really holds up.
It holds up so much better than I was anticipating. I probably haven't seen even clips of this movie in easily 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely parts of it that like...
I mean, it's from the 70s.
Are just like, yeah, exactly. Like parts of it just like feel a little like off.
Yeah. As a whole?
For
what they're doing and the like quote unquote real effects of this ginormous shark terrorizing a beach town. It's incredibly impressive.
Yeah. It's really good. It's it's a pretty good thriller. In terms of like, upping the tension and everything like that.
Is it considered a thriller? Thriller/adventure.
Yeah.
There's way more thrill in this than in Dog Day.
100%.
Like I wouldn't even say there's very much any thrill in Dog Day, but
no,
yeah.
100%. This one definitely has like so many moments, and then it also has a like a really solid score. It's got the
my God, one of the most notable
shark songs
ever.
I will say, To anybody who is like, man, Jaws did irreparable damage to like sharks' images.
Yeah.
And, causing like fear. Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
I was watching that movie and I was going like, damn, I think I'm a little bit scared of sharks.
Like, can you imagine?
And then it's like taking a step back and being like, oh, I get it. That's what people were saying. Where it's like,
yeah,
that's exactly what Jaws does.
Yeah.
It makes you scared of sharks, even though like this stuff very, very likely wouldn't happen.
Right. But the like I can't even fathom watching that in the 70s and 80s, because like we can sit here and we can be like, oh, we like now we know because we see like all the effects and whatnot, which again still very impressive, but we've seen newer that's more convincing that now like we see through it. But even still there's like tension there. Like it's not like it was distracting knowing what was going on. Like I genuinely cannot fathom like the reaction to that movie coming out for some people, especially if like you had younger people watching it. Like I can absolutely see people forming genuine shark fears and going in the water fears over that movie because it's intense.
100%.
Yeah.
And then they also have the stuff where it's just like the one dude is like, I got bit by 13 sharks or whatever.
I know.
He's like, they're recounting like tales of like shark encounters, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like not adding in the context of like they choose to work with sharks. Like they love the thrill of finding them and experiencing being with them.
But yeah, literally like, the ultimately the attempt for them to go out and like catch this thing. Just like really good. Like, you get like some endearing moments. You get this like grizzled freak type fisherman who's like, I don't know.
He's the outcast.
Team. I can do this shit. You can't understand what I'm saying half the time. Hates this hotshot kid who knows everything about sharks, but like they come to understand each other. They have these like, the three of them become brothers out there on the ocean, and then the shark fucking attacks, and it's just like it's crazy. It's this pure chaos. And again, like there are these like really tense moments where the one dude needs to like tie off the barrel because the guy's gonna harpoon the shark and the barrel is gonna fly off, and that's how they're gonna be able to track it. They put a tracker on the barrel and all that stuff, and you get this like tension of him like trying like frantically to tie it, and is he going to be able to do it? Is he not? And just really well done.
Yes.
And
very
like,
intense.
And also very satisfying in the end. The stakes are incredibly high. Like, it would have been kind of eye rolly if they would have been completely unharmed and they killed the shark. Yeah. Instead, it's like the one dude almost drowns effectively.
Yep.
Because he's in a shark cage and the shark tears it apart.
Yep.
The outcast guy does die.
Yep.
Gets eaten by the shark, which is the one part of the movie outside of one of the shark attacks in the water early on.
Yeah.
But his death was the one that was just like, okay, maybe it doesn't hold up that well.
Which, because you see the most detail of the shark. Like, that's the problem, is most of the other deaths are, like, primarily underwater. So, but like, you can hide it with shadow.
Or, like, a washing machine spin cycle.
That was
it's just, like,
really funny. That was really funny, yeah. Yeah. Oh, my God, I don't even know where I was going. But, yeah, the last death is definitely... one, I mean, we've been talking about this a lot with movies, how like when there's no actual like stake of health, like you're not like worried about anyone's death, then it like loses all meaning. And I think this is like becoming more and more of a thing, especially in like action and dramas, where it's like, of course you want everyone to live, you want the happy ending, but if that happened all the time, then every story kind of loses its weight and loses like any sense of like, you're always going to assume everyone makes it, which I do think is an increasing trend. That you and I have been talking about a lot. But yeah, this one does like a good job of I mean, one, it really does the kind of the great like horror movie thing where like randos are getting picked off, which ups the fear. like throughout the movie. And then of course it kind of does feel like in the end you need to lose someone in order to truly feel the weight of like what happened. Because if it was all like you said randos and like the people everyone survives, and it like even though it's still satisfying to see the shark die, it kind of like absolutely loses the weight of what was happening the whole movie because you didn't know any of them.
Yeah.
Like you had close calls, but you didn't know any of them.
No, 100%. And I think the thing that was like satisfying then too is that like, again, they could have come back with the ship in pristine condition, everybody alive. Instead, the ship is gone. Brody is like on the mast that is like barely afloat.
Yeah.
And in order to kill the shark, it was like it was like the Death Star. You know, like he needed to get off the perfect shot.
Yeah.
And there's like it's you can roll your eyes at it, but also it's like really satisfying because it's just like and like he's gonna do it, but then like he does it, he pulls it off, and it's just like damn, that was awesome.
Also, I love that like I forgot this from having seen the movie a million years ago that Brody is afraid of water. Like he doesn't have confidence in his swimming. He's afraid of everything. He's like
getting seasick.
His wife hands him with like, I don't know, some kind of Dramamine or whatever.
Yeah. He's getting seasick while throwing chum to try and like, it's just like, it's so ridiculous.
Funny. Yeah. It's so funny. That's such a fun detail of his character.
It's a really fun movie. And again, it holds up, which is like amazing. Like it's the best thing you can say about a movie that came out,
50 years ago.
I mean, yeah, right. 50 years ago, let alone 10 years ago, right? Like knowing that a movie can withstand the test of time. And again, it be like just like a really fun watch.
Yes.
Yeah, Jaws was good.
Agreed. Next one was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Oh, shit. I wanted to do the
One Flew Over.
What a movie. We have seen this before. We watched this like quite a few years ago, but we did watch it before.
Yeah, back when we were still in college.
Premise is when Randall Patrick McMurphy, played by Jack Nicholson, gets transferred for evaluation from a prison farm to a mental institution, he assumes it will be a less restrictive environment. But the Martinet nurse, Ratchet, runs the psychiatric ward with an iron fist, keeping her patients cowed through abuse, medication, and sessions of electroconvulsion therapy. The battle of wills between the rebellious McMurphy and the inflexible Ratchet soon affects all the ward's patients.
One thing I will say is that I remembered Nurse Ratchet being much more evil, like outright.
And there.
Yeah. And
like present in the movie.
Upon watching it, I was just kind of like, it's a lot of subtext. It's a lot of like piecing the stuff together that she's like force medicating and like, and there are a couple of spaffs between, the groups and her. And like in those moments, it's like, oh yeah, she's like terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so many other parts of it are like very tame and like hard to recognize that she is this like, or it just doesn't really paint her that way. And I don't know why I was like, and I also remembered her hair being much more like devil horns.
Yeah.
Which again was supposed to be like
symbolism.
Yeah,
much more subtle.
So like
messaging.
I remembered it being subtle, but this felt like I wouldn't consider that to be horns. But I digress. The movie's really good.
It's very good.
Also a movie that really holds up. Jack Nicholson is
also emotionally devastating.
Yes. Jack Nicholson is incredible. Which I think is normally the case.
Yeah, for sure.
In any movie he's in. But yeah, he plays the character extremely well. He is absolutely just this hot shot, thinks he can kind of get away with anything and everything. Does get away with a lot. There are so many parts of it that are like really funny and like heartwarming because even though he is like a terrible person, he's doing like good things for these people.
Yeah.
And helping them to like
kind of gain some humanity.
See that they're human. Yeah.
Yeah. because that's obviously overall it's heavily critiquing like how
mental health
is treated.
Yeah.
And like people are in there for all sorts of reasons, like an extreme spectrum.
Yeah.
And they're all treated like just, no personal choice. It's very like incredibly strict, incredibly like you better not disagree with authority, like it leaves zero room to like let them be human. It leaves have them have any
autonomy
autonomy of any kind. And Jack Nicholson's character, as you're saying, like he's totally being a piece of shit. Like he's making fun of them. He's like not trying to make him paint himself like a good person, but like he also is like, you can tell by the end he like cares for them and wants them to want to leave. Like he's the only one who wants to leave. And it isn't until the end of the movie that some of them start to see a possibility of them leaving.
The moment that he realizes that some of them are there voluntarily,
that most of them are there voluntarily,
it's like 50%
easily.
And it's for the sessions that they do, it's like 75%. The people who aren't a part of the sessions are the ones that like need to be there.
Yeah, like it's not safe for them to be by themselves or at home.
And it's like he has that like moment where he like finds that out and he's like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, why are you here?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And like, again, he's a dick about it.
Yeah.
But also like he wants them to see that it's like, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah,
like,
the amount of times he says like you aren't any crazier than the average person you're gonna meet on the streets. Yeah, right.
But yeah, there's like this whole great moment during the movie. The World Series is happening.
I love this story.
He's like, hey, don't you think it would be great if we could like do all the chores and everything like that we need to do, and change up the schedule so that we can watch the World Series? And Ratchet's like, take it to a vote. And nobody votes with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like one person votes with him. And he's like, you all are out of your fucking mind. He like talks to everybody on the side, convinces everybody who's a part of the group that like, this would be good. We should do this. This would be fun. So they all vote. And then Ratchet changes up the rules on him, which again, that's like one of those moments where you're just like, this fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, they're the ones who are in this session, but there's everybody else out there who they also got to say too.
Yeah.
And so he has to like frantically run around and like, again, get the people who are like heavily medicated and stuff like that to try and like get them to convince them to raise their hands. And he gets Chief to finally raise it. But she's like, the session's over. Nothing we can do about it. So then he sits and just starts recounting the game as if it's on the TV. And he's just like, Koufax winds up.
Yeah.
He throws a big curveball. It's outside. That's ball one. And he's just going nuts. And he's making up hits. He's making up home runs. He's and going crazy. And then he gets everybody else to come out and act like they're also watching the game.
Yeah.
And again, it's like that moment where it's just like, damn, this guy's a piece of shit. He's a terrible person.
Right.
But like, wow, he's like trying to like give them fun.
Yeah.
Like let them have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like you said, like you can tell that by the end of it, he does genuinely like care because
I mean he has the opportunity to leave in not legally, but he's created windows for himself and opts to not use them because he wants the people around him to get to experience.
He has
like,
2 opportunities.
Yeah.
And the first one, he gets blackout drunk, basically.
Yeah.
And like just completely whiffs on the window, but was giving them a party.
Yeah, he threw them his going away party.
Yeah.
But then got so drunk that he didn't leave in time.
And as a part of that, the one guy like loses his virginity to the one girl, right?
Yeah.
So while that's all going on, and they're dealing with the shit of that, he is frantically with Chief working to open the window again, and I think has it. I mean, like could leave. Like he knocks out one of the orderlies.
It's like kinda,
but then comes running back when he finds out that that kid like killed himself.
Yeah, like he had an open window, and
then he like loses it and tries to kill Ratchet.
Yeah,
and like again, completely just like again just shows that like obviously he cares more about than he cared about, and could have been so selfish and left, and chose not to. I mean, they steal a bus. He could have left then, but he didn't. Yeah. I mean,
again, the whole thing is very obviously upsetting. Like, it is meant to upset you. It's meant to like hit you hard that like people are being treated this way. Like, I'll say we're being treated this way, but we still don't handle mental health in a great way.
Right.
But it's definitely meant to like really hit home and like make you very upset. But there are like so many endearing moments, like truly, like it's like you're watching like this little community like form and actually like care about each other.
Yeah.
And like that part is like very, very nice. And it's like quite entertaining as well, because of course Jack Nicholson is just being Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. It's a really, really good movie.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this movie, so definitely enjoyed getting to rewatch it. Next movie we watched was Nashville.
Yeah.
Which had never even heard of this movie before.
Yeah.
So this is considered, according to Google, a musical/comedy. I'll read the overview. In this acclaimed Robert Altman drama, the lives of numerous people in the Tennessee capital intersect in unpredictable ways. Delbert Reese is a lawyer and political organizer who's having difficulties in his marriage to Linnea, a gospel vocalist. Other performers heavily featured in this renowned ensemble production include country singers Barbara Jean and Connie White, who are rivals in the city's thriving music scene. The fact that I just read that, I was like, I did not get that from the movie at fucking all.
This movie,
oh my god,
like, it's a really fun concept, and like at times it's done well, where it's just like, oh, there's that person again.
Yeah.
And like, oh, we were just focused on them, but now they're kind of like in the background and not really the important part of like what we're watching right now.
Yeah.
And like kind of like so on and so forth. And you have like so many moments like that, like, right? Like, and it's obviously there's a lot of like political goings on around the time, and the rise of like, I'll say like a socialist candidate who's like coming into the area, but like obviously country is like pretty red, and that's like the big part of it, is that like, but a lot of the singers aren't. It's just like that's the crowd that it attracts, and so like a lot of these like political people are like trying to convince these like country singers to come to this event and like do all this stuff. And it's really funny that like the movie opens with an older country singer singing about, it's getting close to the 200-year anniversary of America, and he's singing a song about how like, we could do all this stuff better, but made it 200 years, so we must have done something right. And it's just like, man, yeah, if that isn't just like beating the drum of like red-blooded Americans, right? Especially for that time. It's just like really on the nose. And again, there's so many parts of this that's like, wow, this is like,
they were on to something.
A really good
I
idea.
will say.
It was so disjointed.
It was so disjointed.
It's so hard
to see any through line.
There's 40 different like main characters.
I couldn't find that, but I remember, I think the back of the DVD says like you follow 40 people. 40 people in a 2 hour and 40-minute movie. 40 people.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not ensemble. It's like you are following 40 people.
Yeah. It's
insane. It's like
tough.
Way too much. You're all over the place. You're trying to keep people straight. You're like, which like I said this at the end of us watching it. I was like, maybe if you like knew these artists, because I know a bunch of them were like known artists. Maybe if you like knew them, like knew this era pretty well, maybe this is all really easy for you. Like, it's just not knowing much of anything about the 70s, let alone Nashville in the 70s. Like, you and I were like starting from scratch, like really no idea what's going on, and we're just hoping that like we can figure it out as we go. So maybe it's just like really not geared to us. Like clearly it might
But
have been
also,
like
like-
trying to say something to people of the 70s about the 70s.
Yeah.
Because it's basically all these artists are trying to be apolitical, which is very funny saying in 2025 terms.
Yeah.
They're all trying to be apolitical because regardless of how they might feel, they are so terrified of ostracizing their fans in any way, which is again very funny to say in 2025 terms. And yeah, you have this like relatively what we would call a socialist viewpoint candidate who's like begging them, who like, because they're like, Nashville's never taken a stand politically, like we've never had people who were like who super rah for like
Well, the artists
anyone
have never
other than
taken
the
stand,
expected.
but,
Yeah,
like,
sorry. Yeah.
The whole like thing is that like Tennessee has like decided the last however many elections.
Yeah.
So it was like really important for this like grassroots campaign.
Yeah.
That's like tax the churches.
Yeah.
To like come through Tennessee.
Yeah.
And Nashville
Yeah.
and convince, country singers to like stand with it.
And it's saying a lot both about like them not willing to take a political stand. Like it starts with all of them being very against it.
Yeah.
But then you kind of watch a bunch of their careers start to like get messy, and then they all take the chance to do it to like basically look good. Like a lot of them see it as like their last solid chance to like save their image, which is really funny. Like it turns from them being unwilling to show any political side of all to like, if it makes me look good, I will be there.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like again, it's definitely commentating on like stardom.
Oh, and if Joe will do it, I'll do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I cannot retain really any through line of a story that happened. Like I can kind of picture like little things. And it was obviously like supposed to be messy and supposed to be all that, but it's so messy that you can't even like kind of keep in mind what's important and what we're supposed to be getting at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It was kind of rough to get through. It was rough.
This one was tough.
Also would not call it a musical.
No.
It was just artists performing songs, which I know sounds dumb, but like is a complete unknown a musical? I would say no. I would say Timothée Chalamet playing Bob Dylan songs does not inherently make something a musical.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Unless it's like the term has changed on how we use it.
Sure.
Maybe. But like they was just like, oh, we're now at this show and
like,
so and so is performing one of their songs. That's
in
what
my
the
opinion,
music
musical
was.
is like a song that is progressing the story.
Yeah, and this wasn't doing that.
No.
You were watching a bunch of performers perform.
Yeah.
Which again, unless all these like biopics are considered musicals,
they might be, but
some of them might be, but I wouldn't say they all across the board are musicals.
Yeah. Would agree.
So anyway, and not comedic at all.
I didn't laugh.
Not once.
Well, I'm sure I let out some.
Nope.
I'm sure there were moments.
Not once.
That were ridiculous, as is the case in like any movie.
Sure.
But no, this was not like
it was not
laugh
funny.
out loud.
No.
My sides hurt.
No.
Hilarious.
No. It was odd. Again, maybe if people knew the time better, you could take more from this.
Yeah.
But it was a struggle for me. And I can't say I loved it. I'll put it at that.
All right. Well, don't. Yeah.
All right. Last movie. Barry Lyndon marked war/adventure. And just to be clear off the top, this movie is 3 hours and 5 minutes.
Yes.
Acclaimed adaptation of William Makepeace Thackeray's novel, in which a likable young Irishman changes into a conniving, manipulative rogue. The protagonist finds himself homeless after taking part in a fake duel and is then captured by a Prussian highwayman and meets up with a spy, but his fortunes change when he marries a wealthy, titled woman in order to secure his future. That truly is as ridiculous as this movie is.
Yeah.
Like, that actually is a fantastic synopsis.
Yeah.
But also, like, you look at this and you're like, what the fuck am I reading right now? Where to even start?
This
I don't
movie
know.
is potentially one of the more, I'll say, like, artsy films that we watch. Like, this and, what was the Vietnam movie?
Yeah. Oh God, let me see if I can find it.
Oh my God, that's gonna bother me.
What year roughly was
It
that?
would have been 78, I think. I can
Yeah.
just pull it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not having to
Apocalypse
look.
Now.
Apocalypse Now.
Like
Yeah.
this movie is like it's pretty slow.
Hmm.
And it does it's very much like look at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Look at all this.
Yeah.
Isn't this amazing? And in a lot of ways, yeah, it is. Like every shot in this movie is you can tell how much intention there was behind each and every one. The blocking. I think I saw somebody describe it as like every scene looks like a painting.
Yes, I think that's very accurate. It's very visually beautiful.
And there are so many scenes that like it'll like just like cut and it's like everybody's still.
Yes.
And so it feels like a painting.
Yes.
And then somebody will like walk into the frame
Yep.
and then like movement starts to happen. But like otherwise it's like the dogs playing poker.
Mm-hmm.
Like it like there's like shot that like reminds you of that, you know,
Mhm.
where it's just like it's still and then it happens. And then there are so many like a ton of like starting on like a very close up
Mm-hmm.
and then moving out
Mm-hmm.
and like bringing in the overall picture. And it's just all so beautiful.
It
It's so well done.
is.
And
It
like
is.
the costumes are really well done.
Yes.
Like the appearances, like
Yes.
people's you like said at one point you were like, those are some moles on the one person.
Yeah.
But like that was like a sign of like
Yes.
status.
Yes.
And like
Yeah.
and so like it's just all like really well done.
Mhm.
And like was so again just so intentional. It is so long though.
It's so long.
And that's kind of I think the big drawback with like when we watched Apocalypse Now, where it's just like, yeah, this is fucking good, but like this is
I think you could have
long.
cut an
You
hour,
could have-
friend.
Maybe, right? Like I don't want to challenge the brilliance of who was Apocalypse Now? That was
Oh, I don't remember. I know a big name.
it was The Godfather.
Yeah.
Coppola.
Yeah, Francis Ford Coppola.
And like this was Stanley Kubrick. And it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to like tread on your guys' toes. Like I don't want to question genius.
Maybe it's just our 2025 brains
Might be a little bit that.
unable to sit through it. That's full. I will fully claim that as possible.
And it just doesn't like help that like again, there's not like a ton of action, right?
Yeah.
And like this, you know, Barry Lyndon is like it's just a lot of like talking, which is all any movie is, but it's like a lot of like talking and like the attempted charisma checks.
Yes.
That
Literally.
Reginald has to pass.
Yes.
Throughout the movie.
Yes.
And like
That's such a good way of putting
again,
it.
like there are moments where it's like kind of gripping because it's just like this guy's just gonna fucking lie and lie and lie and like how's this gonna work?
Yeah.
Like is he immediately gonna get found out?
Yeah.
Like, or what? And again, like it's just so beautifully done. And
Yeah.
like it is a really like good watch. But like yeah, it's just long. It's like it's almost
yeah.
it almost hurts it that it's like too long. And I get it though. Like the reason it's long is because it's like spending so much time. Like every single one of those shots that again starts like super close up and then like zooms out. Like you can cut out like 30 seconds of that technically from every single one of those, and like suddenly you've been able to cut. But like you can't just do that.
Yeah.
Like I get it. Like
Yeah.
you did that for a reason and
Yeah.
you wanted to and all
I
that.
mean, also like this very much ruins the whole concept, but also the narrator kind of tells you right up front, like you're watching the rise and fall of a man. Like
Yeah.
you are watching a man like kind of defeat a lot of odds and like kind of come into power when he wasn't meant to be anything.
Yeah.
And then lose it all.
Yeah.
Because like again, and the narrator like kind of is giving that. Like it's very much like it feels like you're watching a play. The narrator's kind of telling you things right before they happen. Like they're letting you in on it. And they're like, we all know things aren't going to go well for Barry, but like, what can we learn from this kind of is like the vibe. Yeah, it's just, again, I am probably not like a good person to speak on it because I really just like don't enjoy period dramas, especially anything that has to do with like old Britain.
Right. And again,
old
like
Europe.
this is a drama. It's not like
No,
there's not action.
No, it's all drama.
You know? It's
So
not-
if
it's
you
not a
like
war
that,
film, really.
you might have much better odds of enjoying this than I did personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was just really damn long and I don't know, just not really not for me.
I
Not
mean,
for me.
I did really enjoy the story, and I think like, yeah, again, like I think all of it was. I mean, every single part of the movie
Yeah.
was like a 10 out of 10. It's just like the actual what happens
Mhm.
wasn't enough.
Mhm.
But everything else, all the sum of its parts were really good. And again, the story is like fun.
Mhm.
Like again, like you
Yeah.
get this guy who like, I mean, it's crazy from the jump, basically.
Yeah.
He like wants to fuck his cousin, is jealous that she is like gonna marry a general,
Yeah.
challenges the general to a duel, only to then find out that his second man, when doing the duel, who's like a general himself, comes through after Barry or Reginald joins the army, finds out that like, yeah, that was fake. Yeah, we faked that
We
shit.
just needed you to leave.
We needed you gone.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Because look at you now.
Yeah. It's basically Barry being made a fool of like the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of it. Yeah.
And then he gets the last laugh because he marries into wealth.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't know how to handle wealth.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, it's really fun. It's slow.
Yeah.
It's long. It's intentional about everything that it tries to do.
Yep.
It does it all well, but it's just long.
Yep.
And that's kind of it. Like that's the breaks.
Yeah.
You know?
Very much so.
Those are our 5 movies, though.
Those are 5 movies. Shall we rank them?
Let's do it. Starting with number 5, and then
Like our least favorite.
yeah,
To most favorite.
our most favorite.
All right, least favorite. You can go first.
My least favorite movie was Nashville.
Same. Well, yeah, no more words about that movie.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say
Yeah.
about it.
Number 4.
Number 4,
Go ahead.
Barry Lyndon.
Okay, I have Dog Day Afternoon, but
They're very close.
close.
Very
Yep.
close. I have them literally star
think-
rated the same.
Like, I'm assuming for you, the fact that Dog Day Afternoon edges out Barry Lyndon is because Dog Day Afternoon's like snappy. It's
Yeah.
quick. Like it's an
At
hour
least
and 40
something
minutes or something like
happens,
that.
yeah.
And like start to finish, you're good.
Again, I'm just not
Whereas
a period
Barry
drama
Lyndon
person.
is like long.
Yeah, it's
and it
just
is
not
very
my
much
thing.
just a drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3, I'll just go right now. 3 for me is Barry Lyndon. And
Yep.
I'm assuming 3 for you is Dog Day Afternoon.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I do think it's like not. I think it's funny to say that they're close. I think it's more so that Nashville is just so far below for me.
So far below.
Like-
Like Nashville was always going to be the worst
Like
movie.
Nashville's like, I'd put it in like the 60s range.
Yeah.
And then I would put Barry Lyndon and Dog Day Afternoon in like the mid to high 70s
Yeah,
probably.
I'd agree with that.
I think like, yeah. Number 2, I'm guessing we're the same here on out. 2, I have Jaws.
I have One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's wild.
I know.
Who are you?
I think I
What
was.
have you done to my wife?
I think I was so impressed with Jaws holding up
Uh-huh.
that it just like that's not really a fair reaction to have.
No, it is.
But like
100%.
I really kind of I think undersold in my brain how that was gonna go.
Yeah.
And I was like so again
You're
I
like
mean
so surprised
I
and
was
blown
so
away.
surprised how much I enjoyed watching Jaws.
100%.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love both those are very close for me. Like I probably in like 6 months could change my mind.
Yeah, in
you know
6
what I
months
mean?
you'll be like, no, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is like
Yeah.
closer to being my favorite movie than Jaws would
'Cause
ever be.
yeah. Because like I do love One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but I was just like so impressed with rewatching Jaws that I was like, God damn, I kind of get why it's an annual classic.
Yeah, like these two were pretty close for me as well.
Yeah.
But for me, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest,
I mean,
I think is just like
the performance is like incredible.
that's a movie that to me is like, yeah, that's an Oscar.
Yeah.
Like worthy. Honestly, Barry Lyndon's kind of like that for me too.
A
When I
little
like
bit.
again see all of it together, I can see it. Like you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I just think Jaws is more fun,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mhm.
like I'd put them both. I mean, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I think, is actually probably like one of the best. You know,
Mhm.
like that's a movie that it's like I think everybody should watch that movie. But if I was gonna recommend a movie from these 5, it would be
Jaws.
Barry Lyndon.
What?
Yeah, 3 hours.
That's crazy.
Strap in, strap on.
Oh boy.
No, Jaws would be the one to recommend.
Yeah.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is heavy.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I like movies, everybody who's like, I like movies, please watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes.
Because it is so good.
Yes.
It is so good.
Yep. Agreed. I agree.
I don't think we said it, but One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was the winner.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes a lot of sense.
It won Best Picture.
No complaints.
Then taking a look at some of the other awards, right? Best Directing. The nominees were One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Amarcord, Barry Lyndon, Dog Day Afternoon, and Nashville. So Jaws was the only one that wasn't nominated for Best Directing.
Wow.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest did win Best Directing. This is one where it's like, if Barry Lyndon would have won, I would have definitely been like, yeah, I could see that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
Best Actor. Nominees were Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Walter Matthau in The Sunshine Boys, Al Pacino in Dog Day Afternoon, Maximilian Schell in The Man in the Glass Booth, and James Whitmore in Give 'Em Hell, Harry as Harry S. Truman. So we only saw two of these.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson and Al Pacino both did give really good performances.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see Roy Scheider up here for Jaws, but Jack Nicholson won Best Actor, and I definitely think
I understand.
worthy.
Yeah.
Best Actress, we had Louise Fletcher in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as Nurse Mildred Ratched. Then we had Isabel Adjani in The Story of Adele H. as Adele Hugo. Anne Margaret in Tommy as Nora Walker. Glenda Jackson in Hedda as Hedda Gabler. And Carol Kane in Hester Street. So the only one that we saw was Louise Fletcher in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which tends to be, especially in the older years, the case with Best Actress, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah. Did she win?
Yeah, Nurse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Louise Fletcher won for her performance as Nurse Ratched.
Nice.
Then we have Best Actor in a Supporting Role, and I'm just looking and. Okay, so yeah, we had George Burns in The Sunshine Boys. He won Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Obviously, we didn't watch that. Brad Dourif, though, as Billy Bibbit in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was nominated. He was the one with the stutter.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris Sarandon in Dog Day Afternoon as Leon.
Oh, wow. Not even the other, like, bank robbery guy.
That's Leon.
Oh.
Right?
I thought Leon was, like, his partner.
Oh.
I could be wrong.
No, I feel like it was the other.
You're probably right.
But yeah, I mean, neither of those.
The other guy was Salvatore Natural or whatever. Natural.
Oh.
I think that's the partner.
Maybe. Either way.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any one supporting actor from the movies that we watched that I'd be like, wow, I'm surprised that wasn't a nominee.
Yeah, because I don't know like how you'd break down. Yeah, no, yeah.
But then for Best Actress in a Supporting Role, two nominees from Nashville alone: Ronnie Blakely as Barbara Jean, and then Lily Tomlin as Linnea Reese.
Couldn't even there were so many people. I couldn't even tell you who was
Yeah, and did any one performance in Nashville really stand out?
For me, no.
Right, same. But nonetheless, neither one of them won. Lee Grant won for their portrayal as Felicia Karpf in the movie Shampoo, which we did not watch.
Okay.
Am I missing anything? I think that's everything that we normally cover.
Most of the categories.
Best music, Jaws did win. So good
okay,
for John
that
Williams.
Would be insane if they didn't.
But yeah, overall,
it's actually shocking how few things Jaws was even nominated for.
Fun fact that this called out: Jaws won all of its nominations except for Best Picture, and it was the last film to do that until Traffic. Traffic we watched.
Yeah.
During the 2000
year
2001.
I think you're right.
Which crazy because
I think it was 2001. It wasn't in a Lord of the Rings year.
2000. It was Gladiators and Aaron Brockovich's year. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
Anyway.
Next year.
The next year.
What's our next year?
That we will be watching is, drumroll please.
I don't know what to drum roll on without it making a noise. Can't do that.
2005?
I think so, yeah. I think
Lady.
it's 2005.
She is so annoying. 2005.
2005.
With the nominees being Crash, which won. Brokeback Mountain. Capote?
Sure.
Capote?
We'll learn.
Good Night and Good Luck. And
Munich.
And Munich. So just 5 movies once again.
Just 5
for the
movies.
year 2005. And I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
I only had heard of, I think I've heard of 3 of them.
I've heard of 1.
And I don't know if I've seen any of them.
Yeah. I haven't seen any. Very exciting.
But yeah, so I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. If you know of any of these movies, if you want to tell us Barry Lyndon's your favorite movie of all time, that's fine.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was like, a true like film.
Sure. Sorry. I think I was going at it from if you want to tell us Nashville is your favorite movie of all time.
But also, that maybe wouldn't really surprise me if like somebody
it has
is like
really
so,
good online reviews.
If somebody is like so in it, you know, with either of those, it's like I could see it
has
being
its
somebody.
niche audience. You're right.
Probably not even that niche, honestly. I think
niche.
we could potentially be in the minority.
I don't know. Anyway, if you have a favorite of these 5, please let us know. Or if you were swayed into watching any of them, let us know. You can find both of our socials in the description. You can find SMC Podcast on all streaming services, including YouTube. And until next week, stay brothy and get to watching movies from the Best Picture nominees from 2005, because you have like 8 weeks to do it until we record this again. Bye.